Hey there, Capricorns. I am Isaac. Welcome to my channel. We're going to get into your reading for September 2024. So I spent a little bit of time looking at your chart here, and it's kind of interesting because it seems that Capricorn is kind of getting a little tired of doing things in the tried and true way, which is kind of surprising, right? Because that's usually what Capricorn's all about. You guys don't like to waste time on things that you don't already know work. You like to do things the way that like I said, traditional, tried and true methods that work, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel. That's kind of the most common thing I hear from a lot of heavy Capricorn people, is there's no need to reinvent the wheel. But that tendency might be starting to kind of shift and change for you, which might feel a little bit scary because it's just kind of different from the way that you're used to feeling. But it's also, you know, so you don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? But what if you've worked with the wheel for so long and you understand it so well that you figured out ways to make it better and innovate on it? But then maybe you're afraid to do so because that's just not usually something that you do. Or maybe you work for a boss who at a company who's like they don't want to hear new ideas. They're not interested in innovation. They don't and uh, they don't really care if you can make things better. They don't really, but then you start to feel like, well, I know these things work, but it's starting to feel kind of boring and stagnant, and I see ways to make things better. But if you don't want to listen to my ideas, then maybe I should go do things on my own. So that's kind of a general feeling I'm getting from looking at this chart here. Um, you know, Pluto here, right at 29 degrees in Capricorn, moving into moving into Aquarius. I think that's kind of where there's this transformation happening in you, where you're becoming a little more innovative. You're becoming a little more open, not needing things to be quite so rigid and predictable. But it's a slow process. It's not just an overnight thing. But you are sort of evolving into a more maybe open-minded, um, more willing to take certain risks and try new things, not just for the sake of new things or just being random or chaotic or whatever, but because you're reaching a point where you've worked with certain things, certain ideas in your life long enough that you understand them. Like a chef who's worked with traditional recipes so long that now he can innovate and create his own stuff but he understands the rules of how to cook. So he's not just throwing random stuff together and making crazy wild concoctions. There's a method to what he's doing. He knows what he's doing, and that's kind of what I think is going on here with many Capricorns. And the more you kind of keep that back, so say imagine you're like in a meeting at work, and your boss is describing something, and you see very clearly how you could make a certain process in your job better, but you don't necessarily want to speak up because maybe you like this job. You don't want to rock the boat. They're not necessarily always open to new ideas, and you don't want to cause problems. But then the more you keep it to yourself, the more visibly upset you start to become slowly over time. With Chiron here right next to the fourth house, it's in the third house really, but it's right next to that IC line, which can really affect your emotions. And so it's like maybe you're feeling like if you start to feel like you're not really being utilized in the way that you'd like, or your innovative spirit is not being recognized and being maybe either because nobody is giving you, your boss or whoever isn't giving you a chance to innovate, or maybe because you're not giving yourself the chance because you're not speaking up. This is kind of suggesting that it would be probably helpful for you to at least give it a try. If you've got ideas that might make things better, even if you think people might not want to hear them, give it a shot. And if they shoot you down, then you know that maybe it might be time to consider doing things on your own, because you've got the ability. You've got, with Palace here in the 11th house. I mean, you know how to network with people. You understand probably certain aspects of business pretty well. You're good with, you're good with people. Your 10th house being kind of right there in Libra, kind of in Scorpio. Like, you know how to connect with people on a one-to-one level. You've got the motivation and the work ethic. You've got the sort of um, consistency you need. You've got the community. Like, you've got everything you need basically to be able to do what you want to do. But there might be a certain a certain uncertainty about maybe it's like a lack of confidence in your ability to innovate, to invent, to do things differently, to kind of go outside the box. And if you think about it, okay, if you're somebody who's really into following tried and true methods that always work, well, somebody at some point had to figure out how to do that. They didn't, someone along the way, in whatever field we might be talking about here, someone had to come up with something on their own and figure out how to make things work. And then everybody else starts basically copying them because they figured out how to do. But that first original person who came up with the original concept of what we consider to be tried and true now, to them, it wasn't. It was an innovation. It was a risk. It was somebody who trusted in themselves enough to be able to try something new that might fail or might not work and figure it out. Um, and so that could be you, perhaps. Maybe you've got, some big $1 million idea or whatever. And it's just, you just have to be willing to be that pioneer and face the uncertainty and possible instability that can sometimes come along with that, which again, to Capricorn can be kind of terrifying. You guys are all about stability and consistency and pragmatism. But that pragmatism has maybe kind of left a certain sense of stagnation in your life. Um, Whereas in the past, maybe that didn't happen, but now suddenly, for whatever reason, you're getting a little bit restless, perhaps, and wanting to do things a little differently. Um, Let me pause the video real quick and look at a few things. Yeah, so I think the temptation here is, so we have Lilith, Venus, and Juno here, all together in the ninth house in Libra. So Lilith is kind of like the thing that you feel like you want to do, but will actually make things worse. It's kind of like the dark temptation, and with Venus there, so and in Libra in the ninth house, so it's almost like this is contributing to that sense of maybe wanting to do things someone else's way, do things the traditional way in order to please someone else at the expense of your own satisfaction. And doing so is, like I said before, it's going to lead to you feeling more and more stifled and more pent up and more kind of like people can see the agitation. I think you might kind of wear your heart on your sleeve, whether you are aware of that or not. Maybe not. You might not want to believe that, but I think people can see how you're feeling pretty well. Like you don't hide your emotions real well, which why I mean, and why should you? Um, but I'm just saying that the more you hold yourself back, and the more you stifled you start to feel, the more visible that's going to become, and people are going to pick up on that and notice it. And eventually, you're going to come out with it anyways, because people are going to start to be like, okay, what's going on with you? You need to just tell me what's up because there's obviously something wrong. So instead of waiting until it gets to that point, you could just come right out and start sharing your more unique ideas and your perspective, and not holding your tongue in those meetings or whatever situation where you feel like you disagree with somebody or see a better way, but you hold it back because you don't want to stir things up or upset that person, or compromise a position that you may hold. Um, I mean, I definitely see strong potential for self-employment if you're not already doing that. Um, and if you're not already doing that, I kind of think that maybe that's where you're being pushed towards. But again, this is a general reading. It's not going to apply to absolutely everybody. Um, so yeah, it doesn't look like things like relationships are a huge theme this month. Of course, that could be different for everybody. This is we're looking at a chart based on your sun sign, and obviously you have to take a person's entire chart into consideration. So these general readings are just that. They're very general, so don't take it too like it's the only way. Um, but this does seem to be mostly about things revolving around work and communication, and your ability to speak up, even when it might shake things up or upset somebody who kind of expects a certain sort of behavior out of you. You might blindside some people. Maybe you suddenly have an idea that's kind of, or an opinion about something that's going on, and you speak up about it, and somebody's just like, "Whoa, I never saw that coming from you because you never, you don't usually do that," and they might be a little bit shocked by that, but that's okay. Let them be shocked. um, I think you're just getting tired of doing everything everybody else's way. You want to do things your way. Um, you're slowly taking on a more Aquarius like sort of vibe, because that's really how it works, right? You're born as a certain sun sign, but over time you evolve, and you kind of start to evolve into the next sign. So an Aquarius person would slowly evolve into a more Pisces like person. A Capricorn's going to slowly evolve into a more Aquarius like person, and so on and so forth. So there's a progression here, and you're kind of moving slowly but surely into more of that more Aquarian kind of kooky, innovative, outside the box, abstract kind of thinking. But slowly. So it's not that you're just going to completely abandon your more pragmatic and consistent side. If anything, that's just going to help you more, because as you start to open your mind and open your willingness to explore kind of different strange ideas, you've already got the skills and the work ethic and the ability to get things done to back it up. Whereas somebody else might um, be have like a lot of really good ideas, but have very little follow through or ability to make things happen. Um, so, anyways, I think I'm going to keep this video kind of short. Feel free to contact me if you want to get into a private reading, or if you want any information on that. I do natal chart readings and tarot readings. My email's in the description below. Remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Share with your friends if you like these videos. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.